Should begin by saying that I am a big fan of Tolkien's work, and have read LOTOR and The Hobbit, and his other books, many times. I did enjoy the first trilogy, and thought that the changes Jackson did to the story were sometimes understandable, sometimes acceptable. However, I have no idea what happened with this movie and the whole second trilogy. I am terribly disappointed, and I have no idea whether the changes were necessary simply to milk as much money as possible out of the whole project, spreading out the story to get 3 long movies, even if that meant adding many new things, or whether Jackson actually thinks he knows better than Tolkien knows better how to explain things, how to connect The Hobbit to LOTOR, or how to make a compelling story. And yes, an adaptation doesn't have to be close to the book. However, if you mess with the story, if you include things that contradict the whole story, and if you essentially kill off the charm and warmth and concept of the book the movie is based on, things get dangerous. The Hobbit was a book written for children, and while there are scenes in the trilogy that will definitely be fun for children, the dwarfs offering a lot of those kinda scenes, the violence and amount of killing and cut off heads make me wonder how suitable the movie really is. However, watching this movie, and having seen the previous ones, these questions came up in my mind. Is it really forbidden to make a movie that doesn't have a love story involved? Isn't The Hobbit legendary enough? Hasn't the book proved often enough it is a great story without a love story included? Why did Jackson have to create Tauriel, the female Ija elf, and her love story with a dwarf? Why did this have to be added? Would the film would have so much more terrible, hard to imagine, without a cliché and badly written love story that was added by Jackson and Walsh? I sincerely think that, if the elvish race is capable of doing the things Tauriel and Legolas do in battle, not only could the small group of elf warriors Jackson added to the Battle of Helm's Deep in Two Towers have totally defeated the Orcish army in less than 2 minutes, the history of Middle-earth would be very difficult if they all could fight even remotely as well. Also, the fighting skills of Legolas in this movie are totally inconsistent to what he was able to do later on in LOTOR. Considering that elves live incredibly long, the amount of time that passed between The Hobbit and LOTOR is no explanation of why Legolas is a walking Ija god in The Hobbit and much less Superman-like in LOTOR. The incredible length of the scenes, it sincerely feels like the movie team was paid by the minutes of film they produced. The worms, I reckon they are based on a small comment by Bilbo, mentioning worms, a comment that has often riddled Tolkien fans. Is this an attempt to somehow win over the fans of Tolkien lore that feel insulted by Tauriel, the changes to the story, the goats, rabbits and deer mounts, the fact that the wonderful scene of Beor appearing at the battle in the book and turning the tide, bringing relief and a change to the battle was kinda removed because the Ija elves prove that Middle-earth is located in the Matrix? I really would feel bad for J.R.R. Tolkien if he was able to watch these movies. He felt so much love for the world and characters he created, and put so much time, effort and feelings into his work. All this now was steamrolled over by the production team of this movie. After the rather respectful handling of LOTOR, Jackson changed so much about The Hobbit that it feels totally disrespectful to the lifetime of work Tolkien put into his stories. What went wrong? Did Jackson think that, in order to attract and convince all those that haven't read the books, he would need to turn a wonderful book, written for children with a lot of warmth and charm, into a medieval Transformers, regarding amount of CGI, length of fights, lack of realism, character depth and taste? Did he really think this was in any way a respectful adaptation of the work of a man who invested decades into writing, refining and perfecting his stories? Who, instead of focusing on just hours of battle, managed to create a world full of lore, charm, and wonderful characters? I have no idea what went wrong behind the scenes. Have no idea whether the movie studio said Jackson, Forget about what people love about The Hobbit. Turn it into 3 overlong movies for more profit. Get us as many battles and skirmishes as you possibly can milk out of this, and just to make sure, add a love story. We don't care how you do it. Add a popular character from the previous trilogy so people will dig that. Oh yeah, the book was written for children, so make sure there is a song or two. Bird poo on the nutty wizard who escaped from Hogwarts, Radagast, a dwarf with a pickaxe stuck in his skull, and funny bits that children love. But don't forget we want adults to watch it too, so please, add tons of action and cut off heads, too. Gotta hit all those demographics. I know a lot of Tolkien fans apparently love this movie and the trilogy. One review even said from a true fan. Please don't think this is the case in general. I have grown up reading Tolkien's work, and I am simply stunned by how bad, how tasteless and disrespectful this trilogy is.